Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. I'm just going to take my watch off here. All right, let's see. What do these tea leaves have to say? And now I want to just mention that it is the 4th of July when I am doing this reading. It is the evening, and you might hear some fireworks or firecrackers or whatever. There's been a lot of noise outside. Okay, so also the card that I pulled for tonight's reading is the Sun. And so this often is related to kind of an uptick in energies, clarity, that internal light really shining bright. And, you know, good fortune, things coming together, and really, okay, so I see kind of a story arising here, and I want to point out we have two large hearts, okay? We have one here, and then it has a person wearing maybe a robe or a dress. It looks like they're kind of almost frolicking, running. Their hair is blowing. And this totally makes me think of like a younger person, maybe, you know, a child into their teens, kind of in this beautiful, just experiencing life in a way that is kind of carefree, falling in love with things, their interests, their passions, so much. I mean, it's so kind of almost overwhelming when you're younger. You get so impassioned by, you know, learning about things, interests, exploring the world. I just kind of picture a child out in like a field, you know, collecting flowers and basking in the sun and just having a beautiful and glorious afternoon. Completely immersed in that experience. And now here I see another heart. Okay, and this one's really large. And as I turn it, it looks like a person wearing a robe or a dress. Their hair is kind of flowing again. And it almost looks like they're holding some kind of scythe or sickle, maybe harvesting. And again, this brings me to kind of this visual of a field, of some kind of, you know, open area with like a lot of tall grass or flowers and these things kind of blowing. It makes me think of dandelions kind of blowing away in the wind, wishes being kind of put out into the universe. And so you might ask, what are these things, what do these two signs have to do with each other? What does this have to do with me? So for me, I get this real impression of kind of, and this is something that is often attributed to younger people, is this heavily psychic ability to kind of transcend base reality and be really immersed in these like sub places, these kind of fairy, fae, in between realms that people who get older don't have access to, because we've been so sullied by logic and life and responsibility. And when you are younger, there's the ability to really kind of let go of reason and get into your imagination and be more receptive to those subtle things in the universe. Okay. And so I believe that you must have a very intuitive, psychic, sensitive quality to you. I think you're very connected to that which is unseen. I imagine that animals are drawn to you. I see a small deer here, okay? And, you know, what a skittish animal. If the deer come near you, if you can make friends with a deer, you definitely have that thing that animals, you know, they find you to be on some frequency with them, or, you know, you're probably feeding them as well. But there's definitely this psychic connection happening. And I think that you probably are one of those people. They're just drawn to you. I think you probably also have visions and dreams. You are able to kind of catch hold of the, you know, these messages that are coming through to you. And this is interesting, because if we turn this heart here, it looks again like this, a being kind of wearing a robe or a dress, and the hair is kind of hanging a bit here, but it looks like they're grabbing onto something, holding onto something. And so I really believe that you are able to perceive, maybe have premonitions, visions, have the ability to perceive patterns, maybe some kind of mediumship, clairvoyancy, the many different kinds of clairvoyancy, you know, or channeling of some kind. I don't know. I mean, it could be a lot of these things mixed together. It's different for every person, obviously, and it can change throughout your life. So what does this mean? What have you done with this? I feel like this is something that is a family gift. I feel like this is, you know, you have had elder generations that definitely tended towards these kinds of abilities. Now, was it talked about a lot? I don't know. Sometimes families, they don't talk about these things. Sometimes it, and I'm seeing a sword here. And as I'm thinking this, I'm thinking, seeing this and thinking this, that at times these kinds of abilities can bring in energies that are kind of transient, intelligences, what some would call maybe, you know, demons, or, you know, just kind of oppressive energies. And they kind of latch on to people who are perceptive, who are gifted in these kinds of arts. And this influence can be very negative on the practitioner or the person with the ability, especially if the ability has not been refined and there's not an understanding of psychic self-defense, which is kind of being able to protect yourself from attacks, or being kind of leeched onto. If you think of kind of these like a parasitic entity that kind of comes in and latches onto, maybe if you think of like your body and and you have energy field around you, kind of attaching to that aura or the psyche that kind of emanates from you, trying to get deeper and deeper into. And then things not unsimilar to like possession, oppression, haunting, kind of that those things start to manifest. Now, if you are from a family who is gifted, which I myself, you know, I identify as a person who comes from a family of, you know, highly psychic and gifted people. You might know within your family people who have, you know, definitely been affected in a negative way. They've been tormented. They've had, you know, terribly desperate mental health issues, anger issues, violence issues. I'm not saying that this is everybody. And I'm not saying that this psychic abilities are the catalyst for these things. I mean, of course, I believe deeply in, you know, modern medicine and so they are separate things, definitely, but everything is kind of linked together as well. So I do think that people who can perceive deeply also have the ability to, you know, be in a lot of pain, be corruptible, especially if they are, you know, in a depressive or psychotic or whatever, any kind of state, altered states, using substances and this kind of thing. So the point of all of this is that you have to protect yourself, okay? And it's a really important part of being somebody who, you know, who can see things that other people can't. And I don't mean visually. I just mean that you kind of see the in-between. I think you have the ability to often see where things are not real. Like, here's an example, I guess. Like everybody, you're like a teenager, right? Everybody's really into something that's super popular. And you want to like it too. Maybe it's pretty cool. It's even like, you know, aesthetically pleasing. It sounds good. I'm thinking of like a pop star or something. But as you look at this person that everybody like kind of idolizes, you perceive the deep anguish and pain. You perceive that this person is kind of a shell of themselves, that they are a product. And you can't help but get past this. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's a psychic ability, but there is a deeper level of perception about things. You see the veneer. It's like the mask is slipped just a little bit. And as you get older and you become, you know, just like a muscle, you've worked with your gift and it becomes stronger and stronger. It can make you feel a little more alienated from the norm. You can feel isolated. You can find communities of people who have similar experiences as you. Does that mean that you're going to relate to them necessarily, like on a friendship level or personality level? Not necessarily. So this can really, you know, affect the way that you exist. And but I think a big part of this also is it makes it very hard to know who to relate to, what to relate to, what is safe, what is not safe. If you are somebody who has a lot of you know, like people who can feel energies, or, you know, they come close in contact with somebody that they take in a lot of their emotions, like an empath, you know, that you have to learn how to protect yourself. So there's a lot of information about this online, of course, but a book that I have mentioned before on my videos and will mention continually is Psychic Self-Defense by Dion Fortune. And this is a great starting point. Okay. So if you feel like, and even if you're a seasoned practitioner, if you know who Dion Fortune is, you know that she was legitimately knew what she was talking about. So shout out to her, one of my favorites. Check her out, definitely. If you think you know it all, there are a few pointers that she has. Okay, I also want to look at this. We have a 717. Okay, we also have an angel kind of looking down on that. So that seems like a really blessed number. Here we have, it looks like a person sitting in kind of a meditative posture, and then we have a bird flying over. It also kind of looks like a snail. So I think that this is definitely a time for slowing down, being contemplative. Okay, maybe something has happened where, you know, you're psychic, clairvoyant, empath, you know, whatever you identify with, whatever abilities come up. Maybe you're having super vivid dreams. That, for me, that's my big one. Dreams, dream messaging, visions, that kind of thing. And also just being like super intuitive and being able to like kind of understand what people are going to do before they do it, but not necessarily, for me, it's not just necessarily like a psychic thing. It's because I grew up in a home with addiction. And so I had to constantly be able to like take the temperature of what things were going to be like. And that really made me very intuitive about people, but also hyper vigilant. So these are other things that kind of come from family lines, is that there are generational traumas, generational abuse, generational, you know, just, there might not be the abuse happening, but just the learned behaviors and conditions get passed down. So if you are raised by somebody who is always hypervigilant, always on edge, you know, always kind of, you know, checking how everybody's feeling to make sure, you kind of take that stuff into you, right? And it becomes conditioned into how you exist a bit. And so this is part of why these things come down the line from our families, is because we pass on how we know how to cope with life, if it is consciously or passively. So anyways, 717, important number. Slowing down, contemplating, deciding what are you going to do here. Grounding. I get this feeling there's a need for a lot of grounding. I feel like there's maybe just something going on that, like, I don't know, a shift in your life. Maybe it's the season, some kind of, you know, change. Something's changing, and it is kind of bringing up a lot of feelings. You're having a lot of kind of, you know, things pinging, I guess is what I would call it. I don't know, maybe you've moved to a new place or been to somewhere that was like, had heavy energy, and that there's kind of a residue of that lingering. So cleansing, grounding, sticking to a healthy routine, something, you know, that we all have to do as practitioners. Sleeping well, eating well, drinking water, fluids, moving our bodies intentionally to your level of ability, you know, not cluttering our mind with things that make us feel stressed out, that kind of stuff. Being mindful, all of the fun stuff, right? Okay, so this is the same being wearing a robe or a dress, okay? And now coming to meet this figure. There's this interesting kind of circle here. It makes me think of like an eye, but also I almost see like a leg with a growth of some kind, like some kind of blockage. And that would be maybe something to do with like, it doesn't have to be a physical thing. Like they have like a tumor or like a blood clot or anything like that. But it could be something like, because the leg is connected so much to the, like earth element connects us to the ground, connects our feet to the ground. But also, you know, just a symbol of the ability to move forward, backwards, whatever, mobility. I wonder if it's just like somebody in your life who is feeling really stuck in their situation. But I feel like, and this keeps coming up in my mind, that it just seems like there's somebody with a really kind of, they're in a dark place. And so I feel like, you know, maybe it's like a family member or somebody you love, really needing your assistance in some way, emotional support, but it's hard to really connect with them because they're not consistent. They seem kind of very morose. And I'm sorry, my cat's right here. And almost just kind of like has nothing nice to say, just kind of aggressive, angry, sad disposition. And this is really heavy for you. This really kind of affects you deeply. So with this figure, it seems like kind of coming to the, like flying towards them to come and help. But I'm also seeing this face where it's just kind of this really, you know, kind of a emotionless, it just seems really bleak. So I think, you know, just really taking your time and having some space where you can, you have to check in with yourself. You have to make sure you're doing well. And, you know, it's rough. It's rough when you love somebody so much. They really, and even here I'm seeing a face with a sad face. And you want to be there for them. You want to like just tell them what to do, help them do, you know, do the things so they can just kind of get out of this place. But it's like they're not, you know, heeding your advice, or it's like, you know, the wheels are just spinning in place and getting no traction. And so I just, you know, it can really drag you down deeply. So just like I said, keeping with all of that kind of grounding, cleansing, for the psychic side of things, but also for the practical aspects of your life. Okay. I just kind of want to... Oh. I just spilled that all over my lap. It's time for bed, I think. Okay, we have another little heart. And I feel like there's just this choice that has to be made. Something, it's just kind of something that... I feel like there's almost like this conflict of like choosing what's best for you versus, you know, what they need from you. And you feel like almost guilty for choosing your well-being over the situation, because I don't think this is the first time. It's like been an ongoing thing for you. And that's hard. So, I don't know. But, you know, I think that you're a smart person. You know, to some degree what needs to be done. It's just about making that choice. And, yeah, so I'm gonna pet this cat and hope he doesn't jump up here and knock everything over again. So I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. I appreciate you. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep the cat over here. Like the video, and it helps us get into the algorithm. We're growing this channel, all of us together. Our community is getting larger and stronger, and I appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't subscribed, please think about doing so. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. Here comes Pudgy. And other than that, if you want to leave a comment, I read every single one of them. Oh, yeah, he's got to go. Got to go and touch every little thing. I read every single one of them, and sometimes it takes me a day or two to get back to them, but I do read them, and they mean so much to me. So anyways, I'm going to thank you, and we will talk again very soon.